reminded of a very beautiful episode which was narrated to me by my teachers in college, must be. This happened in the Purnachandra auditorium. There was this music program which was in progress. Swami was seated in front in the D and he was watching this program. And many of you may be familiar with his name. The program was being done by P. Sushila and another great legendary singer, S. Janaki. And the piece that was being performed was by S. Janaki. Janaki Amma had one very interesting talent. Apart from being one of the sweetest singers you would ever hear, she also had this ability to mimic different voices. So she could sing like a small child, she could sing like an elderly lady, she could sing like a man, she could, of course, sing with her natural voice too. So she could sing in all these different tones. So she was presenting a song which was actually a story of a great devotee of Lord Venkateshwara. And this lady was old by that time that this event happens. She had this practice of making this pilgrimage to Tirupati every year. And every year she would walk up that Tirumala or the mountain. And that used to be her sadhana. She would walk up that mountain and have darshan of the Lord. With years, with advanced age, she couldn't do that trek anymore. People advised her against it, but she said, no, this is a promise that I make to my Lord that I will come every year to see him. So she says, I must go. So she takes this treacherous trek up the mountain, and midway she finds that she's not able to take a step forward. She's absolutely exhausted, and she's sitting by the wayside, unable to take even a step forward. And in that state, she starts crying and she says, oh, Lord Venkateshwara, I thought I'll come and see you, but here I am too old to make this journey. So this entire episode was being presented in the form of a song. So Janaki Amma would sing like an old lady. She would sing like the way the other pilgrims would come and try to help her, and all of this in song. The story goes that Lord Venkateshwara looks at this plight of this devotee, and he comes in the form of a little boy. And he comes to this lady and says, Grandma, what are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go? And then she says, I want to go and have darshan of Venkateshwara. And the little boy says, but you're too old for that. And the little boy tries to dissuade her by saying that, don't you know, he's everywhere and you don't have to go anywhere to have his darshan. And she says, I know all that, but I would like to go and have darshan of Lord Venkateshwara, my Ishta Devata, my deity. So this little boy then helps this old lady to make that rest of the journey, and she eventually goes and has the darshan. I don't know the exact story. She eventually realizes that it's the same Lord whom she was worshipping and adoring and wanting to have the darshan of, who had come in the form of that little boy. In the crowd, deep in the crowd, you all have been to the Purnachandra auditorium, or at least have had a glimpse of it. So right in the middle of the hall was seated this devotee of Swami, who was listening to these renderings, was watching this whole presentation, and in a devotional fervor she closed her eyes and she said, Swami, that lady called and you came. That elderly devotee called for you and you instantly came in the form of that little boy. And closing her eyes with tears brimming, she said, Swami, I am calling you now. Will you come? And all this she was speaking to herself. With closed eyes, with her mind's voice, she was saying, Swami, I am calling you now. Will you come? I am calling you now. Will you come? In the next few seconds, she found that there was a commotion around, and she looked around. Everybody was attentive and moving around, and she opened her eyes to realize that Swami had got up from his chair and Swami was walking around. And for those of you who've been in a situation like that, you know how wonderful it is, when suddenly Swami decides to give another round of darshan. Everyone's excited. Will Swami come this side? Will I be able to give my letter to Swami? So the restlessness around the hall She was completely absorbed in what was happening there. And even as she was seeing, Swami parted the crowd and walked straight to where she was seated. And in all this excitement and commotion, she probably had lost the context of what was happening, why Swami was doing this. And Swami came straight, stood where she was seated, looked at her, and very simply, Swami said, "You called. You called, and I've come." How far is he? How distant is he? Do we need to shout? Do we need to scream? Do we need to go somewhere? He is as close as your mind's voice can reach, isn't it?